So I'm Flavia Arruda, your Global Real Estate Advisor, and I have here with me today Mauricio Ordones from Q Capital. Good morning, Mauricio. Nice having you here for this two-part interview. So can you introduce yourself?
Good morning, Flavia. Thank you very much for having me. As I always say, we're gonna have a little bit of fun here. There's a lot of information that people doesn't know about the American system, especially in the financial side, for nationals. And we're gonna talk a little bit. I have a company that I built. I've been in this business for over 26 years. We've done over $8 billion to foreign national investors over the years. And we land in all the United States. Even though I'm located in Miami, we do business all around the States, mainly in Florida and in Texas. And our niche is foreign nationals. That doesn't mean that I don't do US citizens or Americans. Yes, of course. But after the years, we did what's called an analysis on who are the buyers here on new buildings and new houses, and around 70% is foreigners of different countries. So that's when we started basically having offices in South America and pre-qualifying the buyers through a phone call, through a virtual meeting. And it's a very simple and easy process as long as the clients do what we tell them to do.
Of course.
So that's a little bit about me. I'm from Colombia, but I was blessed that I was born here. So for me, it was easy doing over the 28 years that I've been in Miami business. So let's start, Flavia.
Okay, let's start.
I'm really
I'm
amazed that we're going to start streaming to the world that you can invest here with the American banks.
I'm really excited about this conversation. So let's talk real estate financing for Miami and Greater Miami area. I have a few questions for you. Describe your financing programs for foreign nationals, and how many programs do you have in your portfolio, and what's the difference between them?
Okay, so you have an idea. There's a lot of investors here. It's around $50 billion foreign national investors purchasing residential and commercial properties all around the states. Okay, so and part of it, 50% of those investments are leveraged through American banks. Okay, so that's very important. And that's what I do. I help the investors leveraging their investments, even though residential commercial, with an American bank. There's over 100 different banks with different options. I'm just gonna explain few of them because it will take us all day explaining every bank, okay? But
Yes.
there's over 100 banks that wants to lend to a foreign national investor, okay? For example, Bank of America, Citibank, HSBC, or let's say Chase, which Wells Fargo, they're huge banks here. Their main client is the American. You need to have over $10 million with them in order for them to give you a loan.
Okay.
But there's 100 different banks, which are not these ones, okay, that they need, so you understand, lend to Americans, to Brazilians, to Colombians, to Argentinians, to Chileans, to diversify their internal portfolio. In
Okay.
case something happens like in 2008, the American government is going to save the big banks, and then they will start saving the other ones or helping the other ones. But if it's too late, they're not going to be able to be helped. So that's why there's many banks that are willing to lend first to a Brazilian, for example, than to an American. And that's what we do. Let's start with the down payment. Because of the down payment, the process is simple and easy. It gets the underwriter and the credit committee is confident that somebody that's putting 25, 30, 40, 50% down payment is going to keep paying the loan. It's not like Americans that they have to put only 5%, 10%, 15 or 20%. And if something happens, they will stop paying. A foreigner doesn't think that way because of the percentage they have to put. That maybe later on you will ask me what percentage it is. So the type or the system here is called the French system, which means in every payment you make, you lower your principal balance. That's called the French system. Normally, the loans are for 30 years. It doesn't mean that you have to stay with the loan for 30 years. We do it for 30 years so your payment is smaller, okay, on a monthly basis. So we basically that's the way we structure the loans, okay? And it's very important to understand that the requirements, which maybe you're going to ask me for that, are going to depend on different stuff, but they're very simple. There are three different types of lenders, let's put it that way. First lender, which I say it's a bank, which have a front office that you can go into the bank, you can pay your mortgage on a monthly basis. These banks are the banks that offer the best options. They ask for more documents and they take longer to make an approval, let's put it that way. Then if you don't qualify for this type of bank, there's a second floor bank, which there's not a branch office. Everything is virtually through phone, and they ask for less documents, but they hit the rate a little bit higher. And there's a third option, which you don't qualify on the first one, you don't qualify for the second one. There's somebody which calls an asset-based loan. It's, I want to see only the property, and I'm going to lend you only based on the property. I don't want to know who you are. I'm just going to lend. So, but our main focus is to get the best rates. The best rates are the banks that have a front office, and that's the ones that we're going to aim to work with.
So what's the percentage that you just talked about, the percentage of the down payment for foreign nationals?
Okay, I'm gonna divide it in different levels. Okay,
Okay.
the city is very important. Where are you buying? Miami, everybody wants to lend in Miami. Let's talk about Miami. Okay, you have the beautiful Miami behind you. So let's
Yeah.
talk about Miami. Okay,
Yeah.
every bank wants to lend here in Miami because of what's happening here with the economy in Miami. Okay, if you buy a house, you need to put 25% down. If you buy condo, which permits only long-term rentals, 30%, condominium with short-term rentals, 35 to 40% down, and condo hotels, you need to put 40 to 50% down payment. Okay, so that's what banks are asking for, the ones that have the best options.
Okay. Another thing, you talked about the time frame, so a 30-year loan. Do you have any penalty or banks charge any penalty for advancing payments? For example, you pay the monthly, but you start paying from the back forward.
Yeah, normally, if you go to a bank here and tell them, "Hey, lend me some money, I'm gonna pay you in 1 year," they're not gonna like it. United States, it's a country that they love you having a loan or a debt. So banks would like to have loans minimum 3 to 5 years. But let's say there's some banks they don't charge penalty. There's few banks they charge a small penalty, which the worst case scenario is obviously let's say the banks that have the best options on loans is first year is at 3%, second year is at 2%, third year is 1% of the loan amount. You can pay the loan not entirely if we go through these banks, but there's other banks that no, you need a loan today and you have the money to pay tomorrow. We can do it, but why should I go to one bank or the other bank? depending on the financial strength. I need to understand the financial strength of every borrower. So that means once we meet, we pre-qualify through a phone call or through a virtual meeting, a borrower, then we're going to be able to find out if we can give a loan without penalty or with a penalty. Normally, banks with better rates, they have a small penalty. But the only good thing about the penalty is 100% deductible from the capital gains once you sell the property. So that's one of the things. But we need to understand the financial strength in order to help you make the decision which lender we should go with.
Okay, so how do foreign nationals qualify? What do they need? What do they need to show to pre-qualify and then through the qualifying process?
We need what's called the list of 5 documents, okay? Here in the United States, what we recommend is a foreigner or a Brazilian or somebody from South America, which is buying a property here. First of all, they should buy it under a U.S. corporation, okay? Which is very easy to do. You can buy it under your personal name as well. That's not a good idea, but that's not my strength. So if you buy under your personal name or under a U.S. corporation, whoever, let's say the owner at the end, needs to qualify for the loan, okay? Here in the States, we are the ones, even though we are owners of a corporation, our income is the one that's applied to pay the mortgage payment on a monthly basis. So for example, we, on the 100% of your income in your country, we take 30% of that income to pay the mortgage in the United States. How do I find out what income we need? If you are a self-employed or you are an entrepreneur or you own your own company, I need your accountant in your country where you are paying taxes to issue a very simple letter. This letter states 3 different things: your name, your company's name, your position on the company, and what is your personal income in the company, not the company's income, your personal income in your company, okay? Let's assume it's $10,000 monthly. The other part is how much money you have made through the year. So let's say if we're in the 3rd month of the year, you made $30,000. So your monthly income is $10,000. Whatever is for 2025 is $30,000. And I need to know also 2024 and 2023. We need to check last 2 years and the current year. Very simple letter. Your accountant is going to state it. We have the sample letter. We'll issue a sample letter. And the only thing I need to attach to this letter is the copy of the CPA professional license. I do not need tax returns. I do not need personal financial statements supporting whatever the accountant's saying. United States trust what the accountant says. In Brazil, for example, they trust whatever they tell. Let's assume you're not a owner of a company, you work for somebody. The same letter from your employer. That is the first requirement. With that document, I will let you know for how much money you qualify to pay a mortgage here in the States. The second document is if you don't have a credit history in the States, I'm going to require that a bank where you live issues a letter which states that I am Mauricio Ordóñez. I recommend Mauricio as an excellent client here in the institution. It's a recommendation. With that letter, I will replace the lack of credit history in the States.
Mhm.
So that's the second document. It needs to come from a financial institution, in this case, hopefully from Brazil, if people from Brazil are watching us. Third requirement, I'm going to need a copy of your passport and I'm going to need a copy of your visa to be able to come to the States as a tourist. Doesn't really matter. I do not need you to be a U.S. resident, a U.S. citizen. No. You're a tourist, I just need a copy of your visa. And last one, the most important document is strength, financial strength. I'm going to need the last 2 months of your personal bank statements, wherever you have your money to put as down payment, closing costs, and you need to have reserves after you do a closing here in the States. I have to prove the underwriter that because you are buying a property here in the States, you will not stay without money in your bank account. So you need to keep having some savings. It can be stock options, it can be a CD, savings, money in a business account that belongs to you 100%. So there's several things that with that I will the more money we show, the better rate I'm going to be able to give. So
Okay.
those are the list of requirements. And last, in order to pre-qualify you, I'm going to need to complete a application. It's a very simple application, 25 questions. If you're married, what's the name of your wife or your husband? If you have a social security in the States, if you don't have, doesn't really matter. Where do you live? Information of your personal house, information of your business, information of your bank account. So it's a little questionnaire with 25 questions. With that, I will complete my application. And with that document, I'm going to be able to find out if you're going to be able to get a loan or not. With that document, I'm able to give you what's called a pre-qualification letter. So those are the 5 documents I'm going to need in order to structure a loan here in the States.
Okay. So if I'm an investor and I provide you with these 5 documents, how long does the qualifying process take on average?
So it's 2 different processes. First process, pre-qualifications, a pre-approval. Okay, that's a meeting like we're doing right now. Understand your financial strength, where you have your money, if you have a bank account in the States or not. If you don't have a bank account in the States, doesn't really matter. I'm able to approve you. We need you to have a bank account one before we fund the loan. You need to have a bank account in the States, not for the approval, but for closing the loan. So I need to find out your financial strength by a telephone a communication or a virtual meeting. Once you tell me your story, then I'm going to ask you for the list of the 5 requirements. One, I have the requirements like the American bank needed. It's going to take me between 3 to 4 weeks to have what's called here a loan commitment. A loan commitment means an approval. The bank, meaning the credit of the bank, met and issue an approval. With that said, it's going to take me 3 to 4 weeks to get that document. After that, once we have an approval, if there's conditions, if there's no conditions, it takes me another 2 weeks to fund the loan and to close the loan. So the normal process, Flavia, is around 60 days.
Okay. Okay. Mauricio, would you like to add any other information that's important for a foreign national investor
Yes,
that we
I'm going
didn't
to give you some
that we didn't
tips.
cover?
I'm going to give you some tips. The mistakes that normally foreign national makes. The first one, not starting to apply for a loan soon. Banks with the best, let's say the first floor banks with the best rates, they take more time. If you don't start with enough time, then you're not going to comply with the contract that you sign, and we're going to have issues. Normally they don't start once they sign the contract, they wait time. So the first mistake that a foreign national makes is not starting on a good amount of time to apply for the loan. It's very important timing today. We're very busy. Banks with the rates are busy. They take longer. And banks don't feel pressure, even though you have a contract with a closing date. They don't feel pressure today.
Mhm.
So it's very important. Second tip, and this is the most important one. Once they sign a contract with you, seller and buyer, okay, there's some clauses. which states, okay, I'm going to purchase a $1 million property. Once you sign the contract, I need you, it's an example. I need you to give me 10%, $100,000. And 2 months, you need to give me another 10%. And part of the deposits, all of the deposits, they need to come from the buyer's bank account. They cannot go through a third party person. Okay, it's normal. Like, hey, Flavia, remember you owe me $100,000. I bought a property in Miami. Please send the money to an escrow account that I'm going to tell you. Once I do the due diligence for the mortgage, I'm going to ask the seller to provide me with their bank statements showing where the money came from. If the money does not come from the buyer, we're not able to get the best rates. So those are the most two common mistakes that today a private investor is making.
Okay. Mauricio, thank you so much for all this valuable information. It was really nice having you for this first part of the interview. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh, Flavia, thank you very much. And thank you for the people who are watching us. Hopefully they comment under our video, and I'll be more than happy to answer questions. So that's the idea, Flavia. I know you are now screaming to the Brazilian community that this is the best place to invest today, and that's what I think, and that's what here the banks want to do as well. So there's a lot of money, there's billions of dollars to be lent to Brazilian investors.
All right. Thank you so much, Mauricio.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.